Welcome to the Bottle Poppin' Podcast, where Meg and Heather share their love for oils, friendship, and entrepreneurship. Let's get it poppin'.
Hey everyone, this is Meg.
Hi, this is Heather.
And we are the Bottle Poppin' Podcast. So Heather, what are we popping open today?
We are going to pop open 2 for 1. We are going to pop open Clary Sage, and we're going to pop open Clary Calm. Similar, but slightly different.
Mm-hmm. So which one should we do first?
Okay, well, so let's talk about Clary Sage because we've got that open scent-wise first. So I feel like it smells feminine. I feel like it's maybe a soft floral, but yet also a little herbal.
Interesting. I think it smells like paint.
Interesting is right.
I mean, I can kind of smell the floral now that you say that. I don't know why this smells like paint to me, but this smells like paint, like fresh paint on the wall.
Okay, so funny. So let's try to switch. I don't know if this is going to be a big difference or not, but so now let's smell the Clary Calm. So I think I smell, Clary Sage is actually the first ingredient in this, but lavender is the second. And I feel like I smell the lavender more now that I'm smelling the blend.
I agree. And it smells sweeter to me as well. And maybe that is because of the lavender.
Well, okay, so let me read the ingredient list for this one because there's a couple things. Roman chamomile's in this too. And that to me, that's a very sweet floral smell.
Yeah.
So ingredients in the Clary Calm blend, which is the monthly blend for women: Clary Sage, lavender, bergamot, Roman chamomile, ylang ylang, cedarwood, geranium, fennel, carrot seed, palmarosa, and vitex essential oils.
So many things.
So many things.
And I don't know if you said this, but Clary Sage, for those who don't know, it's just a single oil.
In all honesty, full disclosure, I don't love the smell of either of them.
Me neither.
This is one that I hear a lot of people reach for monthly, and they say it really curbs their PMS symptoms. Mm-hmm. I have tried to reach for Clary Calm regularly. I start feeling PMS symptoms about 3 days maybe before I get my period. And it's like that lower abdominal, like bloat and ache. And I am grumpy. Like I'm sure my family can all kind of time me at this point. Like, oh, mom's about to get her period because I am just extra grumpy. So my tendency, based on other people's recommendations, has been to take Clary Calm, and for whatever reason, hopefully you can explain to me here in a second, I put it on the inside of my ankles. Now, typically, when I get that grumpy feeling and I get those other symptoms, my period's coming in the next 3 days. For whatever reason, once I apply Clary Calm, I feel like it prolongs me getting my period. I feel like it takes several extra days for me to get my period, which now infuriates me even more.
Makes you more grumpy.
Yes. So I have learned over the years that I do think Clary Calm helps with PMS symptoms. I don't think it helps with the P in the PMS symptoms. I think it helps with just the MS, some menstrual symptoms themselves. So what I have learned is to wait until I get my period. Then I apply it on the inner ankles and I feel like it helps. But me in the pre part, not so good because then it takes longer for me to get my period. So why have I heard to apply it on the inner ankles? Please tell me there's a rhyme or reason for this.
There is. And actually, as you're saying it, though, I'm visualizing. Are you putting it like when you say inner ankles, above the ankle bone, below the ankle bone?
On the inside of the heel.
Okay.
So not on the lower part of the heel, below the ankle bone, inside of the heel.
Yep. Perfect. Okay. So right there is a reflex point that ties to, I don't know if it's the uterus or something else, but it ties to female sex hormones.
Okay.
Or not hormones, organs.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's one spot. Also, the inside arch of the foot is another place that you can do it. And then across the top of the foot, almost like a Mary Jane strap on a shoe, rolling it there. So any of those, it's going to get directly to those organs and help.
So that's interesting and helpful. I guess I always felt like I don't like the smell of these. And so putting it down there also helps me not have to smell it. However, also in full disclosure, because we always like to read up on different things that maybe we don't use the oils for. Maybe there's something that we're missing that fact. And in the Essential Emotions book, this line right here screamed Heather. And so I had to do this right before, because it says Clary Sage is one of the finest oils for the brow chakra, that it dispels darkness and illusion, helping individuals to see their limiting belief systems. Man, if I am not one to come up with excuses because of limiting beliefs.
Yeah.
So what did I do right before we started? I just applied right above the eyebrows, and now I'm going to just smell like this all day long.
You're going to smell like this, but you're not going to be limited by all of your beliefs. So
thank you.
Totally worth it. Totally worth it. So I have a really unique experience with Clary Calm, and personally love it because it helped me so much. And this is one that I don't use in this way anymore because I don't need to. But for many years, this was an everyday oil for me.
Interesting.
So, yeah, I think I've shared before that I, for majority of my life, really struggled with migraines, and they were diagnosed when I was 6 years old. And so I've been on different types of medications, tried different things. Nothing really helped until until essential oils. So before I was introduced to oils, I was taking like a daily medication. And then I had a medication when I had a migraine flare up. And the interesting thing was I obviously was, going to doctors most of my life for this. And they were giving me medication that dealt with the symptom, but it never identified the root cause. And nobody was even looking for the root cause. That's not something I knew to do. But when I started using oils, this oil was recommended, just like you, for PMS, menstrual cramps. I think menstrual cramps is really more my issue. And so this was recommended. And so I started using it, and it helped my menstrual cramps. But something led me to believe that I should use this every day. And so I started every night before bed. I would put this on my feet in the different reflex points that we just talked about. And it made such a difference. I still got headaches. I still occasionally got migraines, but it was way less occasional. And that was my first clue that part of my history of migraines was due to hormone imbalances. And
Wow.
Obviously, like as a 6-year-old, my hormones were totally different than as a 30-year-old woman. But that was so impactful, and then led me to go research other things. But this really, really helped me. And specifically, for a little while, I did it just when I had my period. Eventually, I switched to doing it every single day, partially because it's easier to have a routine when you do something daily versus just, 5 days a month.
Agreed.
But secondly, as women, especially women at our age, our hormones are constantly cycling. Like, it's not like we only have hormones that are active one time a month. And so doing that, it was amazing. It was so much more effective than what I had been doing before and had been told to do, most of my life. And then it just made me realize, oh, there's a root cause to issues. And so it ends up, my root cause wasn't just hormones. It was some other things too. But at this point, I think I should knock on wood, but it's been like 3 years since I last had a migraine. And as somebody who used to have migraines almost weekly, that's huge,
Oh, that is amazing. And what a better, relaxed, clearer mind you have for life on a daily basis. That is absolutely amazing. Out of curiosity.
I was just going to say, even like traveling and not having to remember to take medications. I don't even own the medications anymore that I used to, because they've all expired at this point. No need to refill them. So it really is freeing to find something like this.
So out of curiosity, did you ever relate the migraines to menstrual cycles, or not necessarily?
No, I knew that could be a thing, but because I had migraines since age 6, I didn't connect those dots at all. But it definitely ended up being part of mine. Ironically, something that I only just like in the last 6 months put together is that part of it, like I definitely know changing my food got me over the next big hump. But I really wonder now if drinking Diet Coke was part of my migraines, because when I was 5, we moved to Europe. And in Europe, and maybe in the US, I'm not really sure because I don't drink these things, but in Europe, it was more affordable to drink Diet Coke than it was to drink juice. And so we started drinking Diet Coke with breakfast. And I 100% was a Diet Coke addict.
Oh, when I met you, you definitely still were a Diet Coke addict. Yeah.
Yeah. And then when I finally kicked my Diet Coke habit, like it was so monumental that I still have like life after diet soda. That was my Instagram name. Like this was a big change. And it never dawned on me until talking to one of my sisters who's still addicted to diet soda and still struggles with migraines, that maybe that was part of it as well, because it all lines up. So, obviously this oil didn't cure everything, but it made me start realizing root cause is really where the answer is whenever you can find the root cause. And it's not always easy. Like it's been a lot of trial and error, but this oil for sure made a difference for me. And at this point, I assume my hormones are balanced because this isn't something I need on a regular basis. I every now and then will pick it up and actually muscle test it just to be like, should I get back into this habit? And it's not something my body necessarily needs right now, but it was such a huge help. And for many years, probably 3 years, I used it every single night before going to bed. And I don't love the smell of this oil, but I really love this oil because it gave me freedom.
I don't think that that's something that people can really fully understand until they've had a similar experience with oils.
Agree.
There's a lot of oils that just smell good and people use them for scents. There's a lot of oils that have significant health benefits and people will use it for that, whether or not they fully know if it's working or not. But when an oil wakes you up to something that you were experiencing in your body and allows you to investigate it further or seek out other changes is huge. And my oil for that, and we'll talk about this, in a couple of weeks when we get to our D list, but is Digestin. And same thing, I don't love the smell of that, but that oil significantly improved my digestive health. And we'll talk about that in the future. But it's amazing when you find an oil that can really, really kind of open your eyes to that.
Yeah. And I can't wait in like a month after you put this on your brow every day to hear your experience of moving past limiting beliefs.
Again, I don't necessarily use this one for anything else. And because I don't love the smell, you can only use this topically and aromatically. I have never once opted to use it aromatically in the diffuser. I apply it topically as needed. In fact, one other thing. So Clary Calm is undiluted in the bottle. And because the scent is so strong, I actually dilute it into 3 roller bottles when I receive it. So I don't need to buy a new one very often because it lasts quite some time. But I will simply take the original roller bottle and dilute it down into 2 other roller bottles and then top each of those with fractionated coconut oil. And so I'll get 3 roller bottles from the one, and it lessens the scent slightly. And I feel like it then lasts me a really long time because I don't need it any stronger than it already is.
Right. You know what? I actually have diffused this oil. At one point, somebody in our upline was doing a challenge to like each day find a diffuser blend with a random oil. And it was really fun because it was in a Facebook group. So people would comment and share stuff. And this was one oil that I really questioned, but I found a blend. And since then, I have added it to other blends. It gives a nice grounding, slight floral when it's mixed with other oils. So it can be used for diffusing. I also this week had a client who has hormonal imbalances. And so we talked about this oil and I had it and we muscle tested her for it. And it was really effective, but she loved the smell and was really excited. And so for her, I recommended, since she was okay with the smell and actually liked it. I mean, she obviously could dab it behind her ears or put it anywhere that you would wear for the scent properties.
Right.
But I recommended rolling it over her abdomen because then it's getting right where she needs it to be as well. And she can still smell it. So, to each their own. Just because you and I don't like the smell doesn't mean everybody doesn't, because like I said, she loved it.
Yes, no, to be very clear on that, I think that is worth reiterating. We recently did cilantro and neither of us liked cilantro, but a lot of people do like it and it's got a lot of good benefits. Same thing with this. Yeah. And I will say too, there are oils that smell really good to me certain times. And then I'll go and smell it. I'm like, oh, that's interesting that I really like this one some days because today it's just not my jam. And so I think that our body fluctuates with what we like scent wise as well. So even though this is not my favorite on a regular basis, there's nothing to say that one day I won't be like, yes, I need more Clary Calm.
Right. Let's hope not, though, because that's probably a sign that like your hormones are way out of balance at that point.
Okay, thank you.
Let's hope that day doesn't come.
Interesting.
Yeah. All right. Well, anything else on this oil?
I don't think so.
Okay. Well, we hope that you all have learned something new and will start using this oil, especially if you feel like you have hormonal imbalances. I will say it works for men as well. So you might not realize this, but men have hormones as well. And so this oil can help them. So not just for women, even though the Clary Calm on it literally says something about the
monthly
blend for women. But it's
out of curiosity, if a man was going to use it, would you still apply it to those same ankle spots that we were talking about? Or where is the men's reproductive organ reflex point?
Yeah, it is, but I can't remember. It's not all three of the spots that we talked about. I can't remember specifically which one of the three. So if a man is listening to this, just put it on all three of those spots. You'll be good.
Well, and either way, it's getting into the bloodstream wherever you apply topically. So not a huge deal from that standpoint.
Yeah. Yeah. The spot doesn't matter. Even for women, like feel free to just roll it on the bottom of your feet. It's still going to get where it needs to go. So
or above your eyebrows.
Right. Exactly. All right, you guys. Well, thank you for listening. We always have a new podcast that comes out every Friday. So make sure that you subscribe so that you don't miss a single episode. And also just want to remind you that we have our live Q&As the third Thursday of every month, except for September. So if you want to join that, we'd love to have you join us on Zoom and we'll answer all of your essential oil questions. Plus, we just like to hear from you. So connect with us. You can find the link for that at bottlepoppinpodcast.com or in any of our social media links. So we look forward to connecting you through that.
Thanks for tuning in. For more information, you can follow these bottle poppin' ladies at bottlepoppinpodcast.com. Tune in next week to learn about what bottle we're poppin'. Until next time, take care. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This podcast is not intended to treat, diagnose, cure, or prevent any disease.